Hello and welcome to Trang, another magical forgotten gem of the south, known for its to-die-for snorkeling and beautiful beaches. I'm of course here for a different reason. Join me on a walk through the gatekeepers of carbon, as we unearth the odd and the mysterious, in this rainforest stretch that harbors a giant array of biodiversity as far as the eye can see. This adult male painted mock viper seems entirely unaware of the parasite he harbors behind his head. An interesting snake species not just due to their sexual dimorphism, but mainly due to just how they excel at pretending to be a viper. We're talking about the ability to defensively change their pupils from round to slit, as well as adapting two large front teeth disguised as fangs, while their real and rather small fangs are positioned in the back. Though not a viper, it is a mildly venomous rear-fanged colubrid. Males of this species are smaller and have more prominent lines down the body. They're lighter in color and usually have smaller brown to yellow triangular blotches. Believe it or not, the natural world has more pretentious mimics than the internet has pretentious douchebags. This assassin bug nymph has not only covered itself in pieces of wooden particles to avoid predation, it also moves like the dust itself through a gush of wind. Nature always provides the coolest things to witness, yet they end up being the hardest to detect. Another great contender in this game of master in deception is the deadleaf mantis, Deroplades lobata, an ambush predator that hides in the midst of leaves, striking unsuspecting prey and trapping it in its piercing claws as it devours it alive. They seem to prioritize as they eat, biting into the most high-risk bits first, either it be a grasshopper's powerful legs, a stick insect's spiny limb, or even the actual jaws of their prey. They're packed with large compound eyes, able to detect the most faint of movement. The kingdom of invertebrates is gigantuan. Many of us only see a boring speck, but with close inspection and a hint of curiosity, the fascinating world they live in is fully engulfed. Spiders make a lot of men scream like little girls. What is it about them that entices fear? Is it their soul-glaring eyes, the long, slender legs, or what they pack behind those fangs? Spiders have been crawling about the planet for over 300 million years, all the time in the world to perfect their own special adaptations, to survive in their different environments. A pretty safe way to go about life is sitting in your comfort zone, waiting for a convenient meal. A tactic that's proved effective for spiders, but less effective for people. In this instance, a large katydid had jumped right into his own demise. Spiders in the Nephila genus can grow into giants that can even take on birds or bats. Funny thing is, the males of this species stay around 5 millimeters in size. This adaptation allows males to sneak into the female's web undetected and practically live without the fear of getting eaten. She does the work, and he's the lucky slob. Again, this is effective for spiders, not humans, though it does exist. Nephila house themselves in gigantic webs, sometimes bigger than a full-grown person. All that to support the female's weight, as well as catching her next potential meal. If sitting in a web isn't your preference, well, there's always fishing. The ogre-faced spider does it best. With large eyes to watch for any potential prey, they don't sit on big open webs. This spider will cast a net of its sticky silk to entrap prey, it happens at lightning speed. It's been a dream of mine to find this species in person, even if it wasn't one in action. In this instance, net casting is effective for both man and spider. Another great adaptation is literally fishing. Water spiders will wait by the edge of streams, hovering their feelers and arms over the surface. Aiming to pick up vibrations from the ripples of water, they run across or lock down anything they can overpower. The ferocious and bold adaptations have led to huntsman spiders. No big webs required, just the use of their powerful limbs and a fast-acting venom delivered by two very large fangs. They are the boogeymen that haunt the underbrush. An encounter with this unidentified Helobrachys was just as satisfying. The pink shimmer on this male's body is beyond gorgeous, but this pretty spider is on a mission that can often prove fatal. This male tarantula is looking for a mate. Helobrachys rarely ever leave the comfort of their burrows. Mating is one of the only reasons the males ditch their homes. He traverses the forest floor, trying to pick up a female's scent, and he'll track her pheromones until it leads him to her den. His rate of survival then depends entirely on chance. As cool as arachnids are, this was indeed a herp trip, and we've set out for some of the oddest that inhabit this place. A very exciting find was this beautiful gliding gecko. She is a master of camouflage, with patterns varying greatly depending on what surface she's on. She's also able to glide. As you'll notice, her entire body has extra flaps of skin along her tail, her body, and neck. The feet are webbed. If a danger were to present itself, she would jump from one tree trunk and glide safely to the next. Very neat animals. And when you're out with a torch at night, many of the green snakes will stand out, often reflecting back amongst the leaves. The most prominent sight in the trees being these Malaysian vine snakes. Though they have scales covering their bodies, mosquitoes still find a way through. These vine snakes look very similar to the Asian vine snakes. Granted, their snouts are much shorter, and their pupils are bigger. They have a yellow shade between the scales and slightly different thread displays, puffing up and displaying the chessboard hidden under all that green. To the untrained eye, the two species might appear to be the same. This yellow one here is a juvenile Asian vine snake. It'll turn more green with every shed. Though yellow morphs do exist, they don't appear down south. Another green snake that shimmers is the green cat snake. However, it wasn't the color that shocked us all, it was the parasites that were riddled under his skin. Though not a major health problem, I fully believe this snake can live a normal life, provided it always finds a meal. The diversity of snakes in this area was truly a blessing, and the camouflage of some made it truly hard to believe how we even managed to spot some. This white-spotted cat snake has one of the most intricate patterns to mimic mossy vines in which it rests on. I walked past it, then took a step back just to confirm it wasn't a branch. They belong in the Boiga genus, being rear-fanged, venomous colubrids, not considered medically significant unless you let it hold on for far too long. This fragile species go about their nights slowly maneuvering through the canopy in search of lizard prey. They will also raid the nests of birds. One fascinating thing about this snake is that it comes in another variation. We almost walked past this one too. Both of them were adults. They're stringy and thin all their life. having the best patterns to hide it amidst the vines. A lot more research has to be put into the morphology of this species, and they're one of my favorite cat snakes. What surprises me is the incredible body strength these string beans have, to be able to lift over 80% of their body weight up like it's nothing. These weren't the only cool cat snakes we found, though. On our journey back from a waterfall, I spotted 2 more cat snakes, and it's a species that's been eluding me for years. The dogtooth cat snake. Yes, you've heard right. Named for their huge modified front teeth for grabbing passing birds or bats in the night, they are the longest cat snakes in the world, reaching lengths of up to 8 or 9 feet. No need to worry though, for if you come into contact with this species, it might not even show any form of defense, as they are mostly so shy and calm-tempered. Even their faces are too cute. I can't help but wonder how this fascinating animal even perceives me. It doesn't seem fazed. Has it ever encountered a human before? No one knows. All I can say is that I wish it the best of luck for its future. It has a long way ahead. They mimic the vines and branches of their surrounding area as they prowl through the night to ambush or to raid. A very cool encounter with some very elusive snakes. Sometimes you are looking so hard to find something, yet it appears when you least expect it. This wolf snake was spotted by Sebastian as we were leaving the area. It really spooked and angered a passerby ant in the process. Luckily, the ant didn't feel the need to sting. Granted, she's freaked the hell out. So up the little wolf went. They are so tiny at this age that moving through the entangled roots is nothing but an easy task. Off it went in search of a midnight snack, all the while pretending to be a venomous Malayan crate. The non-venomous Malayan bridle snake is a never-ending shoelace of captivating pattern. This delicate, harmless snake climbs to great heights in search for geckos and lizards in the night. As far as the dangers of the jungle life goes, we were more than overjoyed with the amount of Malayan pit vipers there were in the area, finding a total of 5 which bore extraordinary colors of bright orange and pink. My girlfriend spotted this individual crossing a dirt path. This cytotoxic snake lays in ambush for unsuspecting prey. See that? A living, breathing animal, unsure of its fate, thinking whether it should make a run for it or to stand its ground. Lucky for him, we are just admiring. For an encounter with humans often ends in tragedy. This colossal Indo-Chinese rat snake was a victim on the road, an awful sight. Yet, it is a common one. A horde of marauder ants come pick apart the remains. This is what happens when untouched nature borders civilization. We humans can often get so caught up in our own worlds that we forget to think about others. If we cannot show compassion to the smallest of animals, then how do we achieve that with one another? Our nights were long and tiresome, but fruitful. Many encounters from species we are more used to, and some that weren't so familiar. Homalopsis semisonata, the Martaban mud snake. One baby had a butterfly shape on its face, whereas the other one had a moth shape on its snout. Not too different looking from the ones I see in Bangkok, but an interesting find. We took a detour into a mangrove forest to find this other water snake, one that specializes its life in brackish water, the dog-faced water snake, also mildly venomous. This calm snake moves his way back to water shortly after we got some pictures. These were our top finds for the trip. But I haven't gotten to the most bizarre encounters. If you are unfamiliar with this creature, you have a right to call it an alien. Though when this odd gentle beast caught my eye, I knew I was in for a treat. The mud lobster, a genus dated back up to 16 million years ago, and this living fossil remains unchanged, living its life 2 to 3 meters in mud tunnels it digs, which play a vital role in the mangroves, as it brings up organic nutrients from the deep soil. It may have a rather frightening appearance, but I assure you, a mosquito can cause more harm than this gentle giant. This was an oddity from the coast. Let's face an oddity which lives deep in the rainforest. Trilobite beetles. Another living fossil, stretching back millions of years, they remain unaltered. It took scientists over 20 years to even understand the sexual dimorphism of this animal and its breeding behavior, only to realize that the females keep this look, while the males metamorphose into small flying net-wing beetle lookalikes. These slow-moving oddities crawl up and down decaying logs, navigating with their tiny eyes about the size of a grain of sand and slightly larger antennae, having no real clue where they even are most of the time. They are wonderful creatures, and they're in need of our protection. Now more than ever, we have to save our rainforests. As this video has shown, it is a giant fruit that bears enough to provide for a plethora of wildlife, one we cannot continue to exploit. Thus our quest down south was complete. We traversed the green jewel, finding ourselves amongst the odd, the mystifying, and I fear that some of us may like it. Until next time, I'll see you in the next one.